Hello, thank you so much for joining us for this week's Wednesday webinar. Today we're talking about the academically struggling student, which we know is a little tricky because you don't always know all of the resources or how to best guide your student to the resources that they need. So we are delighted that you're here. My name is Kim Sterrett. I'm the Director of Parent and Family Programs, and I'm here with Kathy Elliott and Wendy McMillan from the College of Arts and Sciences, who are going to talk about supporting the academically struggling student no matter what college they are from. So this is really for any student who comes to UA who might be struggling, and for you as their parents and family members to know what those resources are that are available to your student to help support them. So thanks again for being with us. Thank you to Wendy and to Kathy for being here as well. And we look forward to your great information.
Hello, I'm Kathy Elliott, and thank you for joining us today to talk about situations that your student may be in where they might be struggling academically.
I'm Wendy McMillan, and again, I would also like to thank you for joining us today.
First, I would like to talk to you about what is a college advisor, because sometimes families are not really sure where their students should go to get help. So each college has an academic advising center, and the colleges on the campus at the University of Alabama are Arts and Sciences, Culverhouse College of Business, Education, Engineering, Communication and Information Sciences, Nursing, Human Environmental Sciences, and Social Work. So there are student advising centers in each of those colleges, and depending on what your student is majoring in or thinking about majoring in, they would want to seek out people from those advising centers. You will see on the slide that's provided the website that you can go to find out where those locations are.
We would also like to talk to you about starting with your college advisor to identify what the issues might be with why your student is struggling. It could be just the transition pieces, the study skills, time management, some other things that cover just transitioning to being a college student. It may be that they just need some additional resources to help them work through, like with writing, or they may want tutors, or there may be some other the math lab, some other skills like that. They just need a little extra help. Certainly, we have all of those resources through the cas.ua.edu website. You can find a lot of those resources as well. There may be other issues that are plaguing your student as far as transitioning to the university, as far as being homesick. Maybe they are getting sick a little more often than usual. Maybe they don't really have a lot of motivation to be here. Maybe they're going through anxiety or depression. There are a lot of issues that our college students are facing as they do transition to the university, and we have the resources here to help them through that. And you will find all information on how to contact all of those resources and where to refer your student through the UA website.
So what can an academic advisor in a college student services office do to help your student? It starts with conversation. If the student will come in and meet with an academic advisor, we can start to find out where the issues lie with your student. Is it more just study skills? Do they procrastinate? Do they not understand how to take notes or organize their information? The Center for Academic Success is a good place to start with that. And they have workshops, and we could send someone there and explain to them how to use those resources. What we want to do as advisors with each individual student is look at what is their situation. And with that in mind, coming up with an academic action plan. And we put the responsibility on the student to follow through with any recommendations made, but it's a collaborative effort. So it's the student and the advisor finding out what those issues are for that person and help guiding them through the steps to be successful. And it's not a one-stop situation. They will need to come back and meet with the college advisor to monitor the success of the plan. Is it working? Is there other issues that have cropped up since we met? How do we navigate through those? The sooner the student connects with their academic advisor, they can be using the resources available to them and be more successful having started the semester off with a plan. So as far as resources that are available, again, going to the Student Services Center for the college the student is in. If they're undecided, hey, I thought I wanted to be an English major, but now I'm not so sure. There's nothing wrong with going to the advisor that you've met when you were an English major and see what they have to say as far as what other opportunities you have to talk to people. It could be the Career Center. It could be an advisor in another college. So there are a lot of opportunities to meet with people to help them navigate through that undecidedness. So definitely have them see that college advisor. We've got Academic Hub. So the Academic Hub resources was started by advisors on campus to put all of the opportunities and different academic resources in one spot. So we want to encourage that. Again, you will be able to see those websites through this webinar. And we want to encourage you to look through those so you can encourage your student to also check those out. Your students' faculty folks and instructors for different classes are a great place to start. So if they're having problems in a class, they need to take advantage of office hours, study sessions, and anything that the department might be doing to help students along. The Center for Academic Success has tutors for a majority of our science and math, analytical type classes. But if someone is struggling in a French class, a good place to start is with faculty, or a history class. Again, a lot of departments have structures set up to help students academically in those areas if they're struggling. Reaching out to your faculty advisor is important. You're going to see more people in their junior and senior year maybe reaching out to that faculty advisor, but always reach out to your faculty whether you're a freshman or not. You always want to talk to your folks that you're in class with.
You do want to be aware of the dates and deadlines on the university academic calendar. You can find the academic calendar with all of the important dates going on at the website, the registrar.ua.edu/academic calendar website. It will have all of the deadlines concerning when classes start, when registration will start, when the deadlines are for a student to drop a class if they are really struggling with a class and they find that it's just not clicking for whatever reason. They may very well need to withdraw. They should always speak with their academic advisor before withdrawing from a class though, and we'll talk about that in a minute a little bit more. The students do have through the first 10 weeks of the semester to drop a class, though. We don't encourage that, but we also recognize that sometimes things may come up that throw a student off, or maybe it's not the best fit for them, and that may be the best decision. The final exam schedule can also be found on the academic calendar, and this could be very important for you as far as travel plans and vacations and bringing your students home for breaks.
Back to what Wendy was talking about withdrawing from a class. There could be any host of reasons why a student may need to withdraw. Be aware that the first week of school, students can drop an ad and if you drop a class, no W or withdrawal shows up on the transcript. After that first week, all the way through the 10th week, you will see a W on the transcript for any class that's dropped. And then, if you're dropping below full-time status, that has its host of situations as well. So whenever, to reiterate what Wendy said, you're considering dropping a class, you want to consult with your college advisor. When you do drop a class, of course, you're enrolled in less hours. And in order to finish in 4, which is a big push and well understood, that in 8 semesters, if you take 15 to 16 hours, you can finish in 4 years. So when you drop below 15 or 16 hours in a given semester or multiple semesters, you potentially may be here longer. So again, you want to have that conversation with the academic advisor. What does that mean for me, for my student? Okay. But if you need to withdraw, that's okay. You don't want to necessarily put it off till the 10th week if this is something that you've decided is a good idea early on, because the longer you hold on to a class that you're not doing well in, the more time you're taking away from the other classes that you could do very well in. So you have to take that into consideration when you're dropping, because we'll have students think they can push through and I'm just going to stick with it, and then they wait till the last possible day to drop, and it really would have been a better idea earlier on. But also conversely, they may stick with the class, things get better, and they're glad they stuck with it. So these are conversations, the earlier that we have with a student, the better decision can be made. And resources, once they're used, may be what all the student needed to do to improve their situation. So whether it was talking to faculty, going to the tutoring office, whatever that is. So the sooner you meet with an advisor, the better off the decision will probably be. In addition, when a student drops a class, they always have the opportunity to go to summer classes, whether it's at the University of Alabama, or if it's at an institution closer to home. And it's usually during that spring semester when we're talking about fall classes that we'll talk about summer classes and classes and how they transfer back to the university. How do they count towards my degree program? Those are definitely discussions that we will have with the student, explaining them how to work through what's called a letter of transiency, which can be found on my BAMA. So again, please see your advisor if you're thinking about dropping classes or transferring classes in from the summer. What do I want to major in? If students all knew what they wanted to do before they got to college, it would just be such an easy job for everyone, wouldn't it? That's generally not the case. We have students who come in who are 100% sure they know what they want to do. They get here after the first semester or two, and they're like, that is not what I thought it was, and I don't want to major in that anymore. Major discussions need to happen sooner than later. The Career Center is an excellent place to go when you're thinking about a major and how does that develop into a career path. Also, your college advisor can help with what majors are good for me. If I like certain types of classes, certain bits of material, I am not so good at this other stuff. What are some majors that fall into that category? So students will find out once they get here by taking core curriculum classes, otherwise known as general education classes, some things that they may be interested in or they may not, because everyone has to take English, math, science, history. Then they can see what they like and don't like, and that may help them make a decision on a major, or at least let them know what they don't want to do. But the sooner the student thinks about it, and I strongly encourage students to think about it before they get to college, really in depth, but if they get here and need to have that conversation, the sooner the better. College advisor, great place to start. The Career Center, you can't go wrong with talking with those folks, and they can direct you to the student to the best college, depending on what they're interested in. There's the majors website, ua.edu/academics/majors, and they can read about what kind of classes are required in the major, if there are any internships required, and maybe what kind of career paths those majors lead to. Early exploration, don't feel stuck. The sooner you talk to somebody, the better.
A very important piece of a student's progress toward graduation is their academic standing. We want students to make timely progress toward their graduation, as do you. We're in this together, right? The University of Alabama bases their academic standing on total earned hours of your student and the UA GPA. This is important, especially now as we have more and more students who are bringing in AP credit, dual enrollment credit. We have a lot of transfer students. So recognizing how your academic standing is determined is very important. There is a level that students have to reach at each kind of checkpoint. You see here the chart, 0 to 30 hours, a student has to be a 1.5 or higher not to be placed on suspended status. and so on and so forth. And we'll talk about what the different academic standing definitions are and where students can monitor with their academic advisors how they are progressing toward their degree. Through the university catalog that you can access through the ua.edu website, you will find all of the information on students' academic progress and their academic standing as they go through their degree. Students obviously in good standing are going to be above a 2.0. They're going to be progressing effectively in a timely manner toward graduation, and everything is going well. They're in good academic standing. With students who are struggling a little bit more, however, there are 3 different levels that we really pay a lot more attention to and work with students in different ways. Students who are above that academic standard that we saw in the previous slide, but below a 2.0 are going to be an academic warning. This is kind of a probation standing, and we really work with those students to identify where the holes are and how we can help them best move forward and get back into good standing above that 2.0 threshold. As students fall below the standard, the SPS standard, as we saw in the previous slide, they are placed on suspended status. The first suspension is a one-term academic suspension. This is the first time a student is placed on suspended status. They can work with their college to see what their academic plan for success can be moving forward. When they are on a one-term suspended status, they are required to sit out 1 semester, and then they're automatically allowed to return to UA the following semester. At that point, their academic progress will be monitored each semester to see how they're progressing, and they will be working more closely with their college advisor. Indefinite suspensions are those students who have been previously suspended, and this is their 2nd or 3rd suspension. This requires an academic leave for a minimum of 1 academic year, and then students typically have to petition to return to UA. At that point, again, they're going to be working much more closely with their college advisor. They're going to be developing with them a plan for academic success moving forward, and their progress will be monitored semester by semester. Encourage your students to speak with their college advisors about how they're doing and how they're progressing, so that we can really reach out to students and help them figure out where the holes are so that we can fill them so that they don't have to worry about being on academic warning or suspended status, and they can move successfully forward. Academic suspension is different from suspension for their financial aid. These are 2 separate situations, and students really must speak with people in different offices about each. For academic suspension, students need to work with their college advisors in the college student services offices. For financial aid suspension or probation, that must be addressed through the financial aid office, and students need to sit down with a financial aid counselor to see what their options are to move forward with that piece.
So, takeaways. When in doubt, if a student is not sure where to go or who to ask, start with their college advisor. And remember what a college is. A college is arts and sciences, communication, information studies, nursing. So it's wherever they're housed academically currently. Even if that's changing, that's a great place to start. Even if, hey, I may want to change my major to something else, that person can help guide them where to go. So Do see your advisor, students. Parents, encourage them to see us before things get crazy. So before things get out of hand, or even if they have just questions they want to get answered, earlier the better. Remember, students can contact their college advising office to schedule an appointment. You can go to the registrar.ua.edu website, follow the clicks to get to student advising offices. I hope this has been helpful for you today. The main thing is the sooner the student gets contact with their college advisor, the better off the student will be. Don't ever hesitate to call the office yourself if you have questions, and we can guide you in the right way as well. So we're here and doing this together. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. We really appreciate your time and such great information. If you all have any questions, you can feel free to submit them in the comments below. We'll monitor those and make sure that they get answered as necessary, or if you want to call our helpline, you're welcome to contact Parent and Family Programs as well, and we'll help get you the information that you need. We do hope that you've gotten great information from this, that you've gotten at least a good place to start and some additional resources. Next week, we hope you'll join us for next week's webinar, which is supporting the addicted student. So it's a little bit of a different topic, but we hope that you will join us for that as well. Thanks so much. Have a great week, and roll Tide.